Yo, 2015 Polaris Slingshot Turbo. I can turn the key on. I got a check engine light. There's a trip odometer button right here. I can push it until it says check engine. Then I can hold the button down. And I got a 65551 code. This thing's telling me that the knock sensor has an open circuit and it's buried underneath the intake, in between the intake and the starter. It's in a really bad spot. I can actually get my hand down in here in my long gangly arms, and I can get my hand on it, and it's plugged in. I can feel it. I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and I let the guy drive it. And the light never turned off. I can't turn off the check engine light without some special Polaris scan tool, but if the sensor's okay, you can go through X amount of drive cycles, I don't know how many, maybe 15 or 20, and then it'll shut off on its own. So this thing's really hard for me to diagnose because I don't have a scan tool for it, and I can't get into the wiring. I don't know where they are on the computer. So I'm just gonna dig right into this thing and try to replace a sensor. First thing I'm gonna do is disconnect the battery because I don't want to be sorry. I doubt that'll shut off the code or anything, but I'm just gonna disconnect it just because there's a couple T40 Torx bits here. And I got some plastic clippy things up here. You gotta pull the centers out. You can use a screwdriver. I got a fancy clippy tool. And then this dumb piece of magic should come out somehow. Kind of twist up and pull out. It's got a little thingy that looks like that. The negative's actually on the inside. I can actually see it over here without even taking the cover off. Should probably do that, but I'm going to take off this positive instead. That's kind of a no-no, but whatever. This is all plastic. I don't see any metal here I'm going to touch off on, so it's fairly safe to just take it off with a wrench. Okay, I got it off. I just got to make sure it doesn't touch that positive terminal. I got a little plastic rubbery thing I can put over the top post too to make sure nothing stupid happens for safety. I'm going to get this mass airflow sensor and this charge pipe off first. Looks like I got an 11 millimeter here or a 7/16. Loosen that clamp up. Then I got 4 10 millimeters for this throttle body. Looking like this one on the bottom is slotted. So if I'm lucky, I can just loosen that one up. Of course, I'm not that lucky. I gotta take it out. Oh, I got a mass airflow sensor to unplug. There's a child-proof connector you pull back on here, and I should be able to push this in and pull it out. Yeah, I don't know how that gray plastic thing works, but just push it in and it pops out. Okay, I'm gonna stick a GABA shop towel down here because I don't like things falling in the hole. Looks like I got a map sensor plug here I can unplug. Just lift up on that tab and get that out of the way. I got a plastic vacuum line here, and these have a little plastic tab on it. You push it over like this, and then you can pull it out. Looks like I got a plastic clippy thing here I can get underneath and try to pull up out of the way. Got a really little needle nose for this. Give it a wiggle, wiggle. Hope it doesn't break. A lot of these break. Stupid little clippy things. Pretty much destroyed that thing. Looks like I got another vacuum line right here. Surprised there's not a hose clamp on that. There's probably supposed to be, and somebody took it off. Looks like there was a pinch clamp on it. No clamp on that. The boost pressure could pop that right off. That's kind of stupid. Looks like there's a bracket for the dipstick tube on here. 10 millimeter for that. Got that one out. Looks like there's 7 nuts and bolts holding this intake on. Okay, let's see if I got everything. I think I got it. I just gotta squirrel this out of here. Nah, there's something else hooked up to it down on the bottom. I gotta figure out what that is. There's a couple of them goofy little clips on the bottom of the intake manifold. This one looks like it's for the field wire for the alternator. I got a really long needle nose that's got like a little angle on it. I'm gonna try to pop this off without... I'm sure most people probably just cut this thing off. Just cut off the zip tie and... Here, I got that one. There's one more on the other side. I just pulled up on this intake as far as I could. I got a really straight, long needle nose for this. I got it. Little bugger. This big dumb piece of magic can just come right out. Wow. Those are in a really bad spot. I was kind of wondering if I could just take the starter out and get at it from the bottom, but that looks like a pain in the butt too. Here's the knock sensor right here. I can push in this tab and pop it out. It clicks in really nice. I don't see a problem with this connector at all. Now I'm going to test this thing just for fun. This is a 2-wire piezoelectric sensor. Piezoelectric kind of means that there's a crystal. There's 2 crystals in here, just like a snap lighter. You know them lighters that click and make that little electrical shock to start the flame? These work the same way. So I'm going to hook a couple of wires up here. I just got some flat connectors I just take out of whatever. Then I'll fold up a little piece of paper and I'll stick it in between these wires just to make sure they don't touch. That should be fine. Now I have a fancy little old graphing meter here, Vantage Pro. I actually have it set up for a Saturn 2009 View 3.6 knock sensor. It doesn't really matter if you got a graphing meter or a voltmeter. It's on a DC scale and it's 2.5 volts. So there's 2.5 volt high and low. So a piezoelectric sensor is actually AC voltage, so this should run in and out of 0 volts. So it should be positive and negative. A regular AC scale would probably work just fine too. But I'm just going to hook up these 2 wires together, just one on one and one on the other, and I should be able to just tap on this bolt on this knock sensor and I should get voltage. It's telling me the thing's working, so there might not be anything wrong with it. It might not be sensitive enough, I don't know. If I tap close to it like this, it should get a stronger signal than that probably. Right on the sensor though, right on the bolt, it very sensitive. I'm gonna put the other one in and see what it does. Looks like I got a 13 millimeter on here. It's not very tight. Probably like 12 foot-pounds it felt like. Get that out of there. The old man picked this up from Polaris. That's the GM part number in the bag. Guess my 12 foot-pounds. I'm gonna plug these in and try this again. This one works too. It's doing the same thing as the other one. Rarely do I ever need to replace those and they're actually bad, but I told the guy it's so much work just to diagnose the thing, you might as well just get one and I'll put it in. There could be a number of reasons why this thing's knocking. A lot of times what it does is when you're cruising down the road, it'll actually advance the timing until it tries to find a knock. And then when it finds a knock, then it retards the timing again. And if it never finds a knock, if the computer never registers a knock, then it'll pull a code for an open circuit. I highly doubt there's a problem with the sensor that I just took out. Regardless, I'm going to put this all back together and leave this sensor in here. Interesting. I'm actually contemplating putting a new connector in here. Maybe it's got a connector problem. It's got a new sensor though, so I'm just gonna snap that in and let her buck, see what happens. I can just wipe this down with a towel because these are usually really, really clean. I'll hit this surface with a razor blade real quick. Probably didn't need to do that. There's nothing on here, it's nice and clean. I can wipe these off. You can see they're sticking out really nice, so they're still really good. These are generally reusable. If they're all flattened out though, I'd put new ones on it. Gingerly cram it back in the hole. I don't know what's going on with this annoying thing, but it won't go in. I'm gonna take these studs out. I have an E5 reverse Torx. Maybe that'll make my life a little easier. There, it's there. These studs with these E5 Torxes on them, I wouldn't tighten these any more than snug. So when you feel them bottom out, just stop. Now I'm gonna snug all these 10 millimeters down. I'm gonna start in the center and work my way out. I'm gonna final torque these to 8 foot-pounds or 89 inch-pounds, 90 inch-pounds. Same thing, start in the center, work your way out. Double check them. Now as far as those wires that are in a goofy spot down on the bottom, I'm gonna get my hand back in here and see if I can get a handle on them and put them back. Try to get this 10 millimeter back in the dipstick tube. Same thing, 8 foot-pounds here. You're not going to be able to get a torque wrench on this. There's not enough room in this hose. Yeah, I can tell there was a clamp on here. Somebody had this off before. I'll do a little zip tie action on this because that's what we, the turbo guys, do. Do not forget to remove the rag. Same thing here. This seal feels really nice, so that's reusable too. I'm gonna plug in this goofy connector. Gotta be careful with that connector. Don't want to wreck that. It's kind of crammed in there real nice. I'm gonna put this bolt down here first. I'm going to go in a circle, just like a carburetor base. This one I won't be able to use a torque wrench on, obviously. So I got them snug down. I can hit these at 8 foot-pounds. These band clamps here, you want those to be about 12 foot-pounds too. I can put this positive back on. Same thing here, 8 foot-pounds if you care about such a thing. Key in, turn the thing on, push in the clutch, and it runs. And it still has a check engine light. And I'm calling it a job. Okay, bye.